Homework number 8. Topic number 1. Writing equations given point and slope. This equation asks you to write, in point-slope form, the equation of a line that passes through the point 16, 10 and has a slope of 5. The point-slope formula is one of the equations on your reference sheet. You can see here at the bottom that the formula is given to you, and all you need to do is replace a point and a slope in those exact positions. So knowing that we have the point 16, 10, these will be our x1 and y1 coordinates, and 5 is our slope. So once we copy the point-slope formula, we simply erase and replace the appropriate variable. So I'm going to erase and replace the x coordinate here. So x1 should be replaced with a 16. And y1 over here should be replaced with a 10. And then the slope, the letter m, should be replaced with a 5. And we simply type this formula in point-slope form, exactly as it is, into our answer box. And click Submit. Here's another example. Again, I'm going to write the point-slope formula and erase and replace the appropriate variable. This time, x1 is -7. Notice that the formula has its own minus sign and 7 has its own negative sign. So there will actually be two negatives in a row here. I'm going to erase and replace y with a 9 and erase and replace m with a 3/2. Now typically, whenever you have two signs in a row, you're going to simplify this statement. So instead of x minus -7, I can add the opposite number. So those two negatives can be converted to a single plus sign. And that's what I'm going to type here in my answer box. So y minus 9 equals 3/2, parentheses x plus 7. Close the parentheses. And there you go. Let's take a look at the next topic. Finding the common difference or the common ratio when given a sequence. In this example, we're told that we have an arithmetic sequence. That means we're going to have a plus or minus pattern. It tells us that the first term is 4. It also tells us that the fifth term is 20. So if A is term number 1 and 20 is term number 5, we have to figure out what that difference is. So it looks like we are increasing here. So that means we're going to have an adding pattern. And if we start at 4 and we want to get to 20, that means that we have to add a total of 16. Now 16 is not the common difference. It is the total of 1, 2, 3, 4 things added up. So some number added together 4 times has to equal 16. So some number added together 4 times has to equal 16. So that's how I'm figuring out what that common ratio is. And when I solve for n here, I see that the number would be 4. So the common difference is 4. Let's try one more. Another arithmetic sequence. That means we have a plus or minus pattern. The first term is 8, and the fifth term is 40. So the first term, the second term, the third term, the fourth term, and the fifth term is 40. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, but that's a difference of 32. So 4 times that number has to be 32. So it looks like the number will be 8. So this time, our common difference is 8. Let's take a look at the next topic. Finding the nth term of an arithmetic sequence. So now they're telling us that this is an arithmetic sequence, and they've already given us 3, A1, A2, A3, and they want us to find the 66th term. In this case, it would be easier to find that 66th term if we knew the actual explicit formula. So let's go back and look at that reference sheet again. You'll notice here on the reference sheet the arithmetic sequence formula. So you need to erase and replace the A1 number and the common difference. That's it. Everything else remains the same. So back to our question. We know that the formula is the answer in any position is the answer in the first position plus the common difference times n minus 1. So the answer in the first position is negative 10. So we're going to put a negative 10 here. And the common difference is the pattern of what's happening here. And if you're not sure what that pattern is, then you can take the second number and subtract it from the one before it. So here's an example of what I mean. I can say 7 minus negative 10. And that gives me a difference of 17. If I do 24, the third term, minus 7, again I get a 17. So that means that the common difference, or the number in the D position, is positive 17. So we're going to type that right in front here. Now that I have the explicit formula, I can find the number in the 66th position. So I replace the letter N with a 66. And I can also replace this letter N here with a 66. This one is just a narrator. It says the answer in the 66th position will be whatever the answer to this mathematical expression. So negative 10 plus 17 times 66 minus 1. So let's use our calculator. Negative 10 plus 17 times 66 minus 1. So the answer in the 66th position is 1095. So we're going to type that here and click Submit. Again, use the arithmetic formula from your reference sheet to erase and replace the required values. So I see here, it tells me it's arithmetic, so I'm trying to figure out what that pattern is. That's making that 4 get smaller every round, and it looks to me like we are subtracting 5 every time. So that's the common difference. So the answer in the 60th position is the answer in the first position plus the difference. So for us, I'm going to put a minus 5 and then n minus 1. So 60 minus 1. Put that into your calculator. So 4 minus 5 parentheses 60 minus 1. And I get the answer in the 60th position is negative 291. Click Submit, and we're done. Let's take a look at the fourth topic, which is actually writing the explicit formula from a sequence, which is exactly what we've been doing. But this time, we don't have to find a specific value. So it asks us to write an explicit formula for this sequence. So I need to determine, is it, in fact, an arithmetic sequence like we've been looking at here? Is it an arithmetic sequence? Or is it a multiplying or dividing pattern, which for us would be geometric? So for this task, you have to choose which one of these two formulas it is. So let's take a look. 6 to 12 is either plus 6 or times 2. 12 to 24 is either plus 12 or times 2. The only common pattern is the timesing by 2. So that means that this is exponential, also known as geometric. So I'm going to go back and take a look at the formula sheet. And it looks like geometric formulas are the answer in the first position, times the r value, the common ratio, raised to the power n minus 1. So a sub n is equal to the answer in the first position times the common ratio raised to the power n minus 1. So I type that here. The a sub n is already written, so I just need 6 parentheses 2, shift 6 to get up to the exponent position, n minus 1. One more time. Let's see here. We've either got plus 32 or times 5 plus c. Yep, it's looking like it is geometric again. So the answer in the first position, right, look up the formula if you need to, times the common ratio raised to the power of n minus 1. So for us, the first value is 8, the common ratio is timesing by 5, and the power is always n minus 1. Next section, back to literal equations. So look to see what you're solving for. We're solving for the letter D. So we want to isolate letter D, and it looks as though I have D's in both of these terms. And these terms are not alike, so I cannot combine them together. The only way to get these two together is to factor. When you have a D in two unlike terms, you need to factor the D out and rewrite whatever is left behind after you've factored. Now I can isolate that letter D by simply dividing by this giant group, 4g minus m to the third. I can divide by that whole group, 4g minus m to the third. And that would be the final answer. If you solve for D, it's lowercase f divided by the group, and you could use parentheses if you like, divided by the group 4 capital G minus m to the third. So let's see. I'll write that here. F, lowercase f divided by, and we can use parentheses here, 4 capital G minus m to the third. And click submit. One more time. This time again we're going to solve for lowercase f. This time I'm going to subtract capital H and get n squared minus capital H equals 6 times f. And the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 6, and that is the final answer. N squared. Now this one can be tricky. It's capital N, so be sure to write that. But when you want it to be divided, even you have a sentence, you have to click the division bar before you type subtract h. Otherwise, then the fraction will just be under the h letter. And we want it under the whole statement. So be careful there. Click submit. And let's try these last two topics. Determining whether an integer satisfies an inequality. So all they want you to do over here is solve this inequality. And we're going to do that by subtracting 9, getting 6x is greater than negative 14, and then dividing by 6, and getting x is greater than negative 7/3, also known as x is greater than 7/3 is a repeating decimal, so it's like negative 2.33333, right? So we need something that's greater than negative 2.333. So if we're on a number line, we're at negative 2.333, we want something in this direction. We want something in this direction. So the question is, which one of these items, let me erase this work here, which one of these choices is greater? So negative 2 is less than, so that's out. I'm sorry, negative 8 is less than, so that is out. Negative 11 is also lower than negative 2.33333. And negative 10 is also lower. All of those things are lower than our answer. So we're going to say for this one, none of these would work. None of those answers are true. Let's try another one. Maybe we'll get some answers this time. Negative 2 on both sides. So 3x is greater than negative 5. Divide by 3. X has to be greater than, let's see, that goes in 1 and 2/3. Greater than negative 1.66666. So something that is bigger than negative 1.666, and that is this. So option 1 is the only one that would work. So we're going to click capital I only. All right, one more time. Last one. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. We're going to get negative 5 greater than 5x, divide by 5, divide by 5, negative 1 greater than x. Now be careful. When this inequality is written in reverse, you either read it in reverse or you rewrite it by reversing the entire sentence. So x less than negative 1. So negative 1 is bigger than x, or x is less than negative 1. So you could read it either way. And any of these numbers that are lower than negative 1, this one here, not this one, because it doesn't have the equal to sign. So you can't be equal to negative 1. You can only be less than it. So we're going to choose that capital I, so the 2 only. Option number 2 only. Final topic, solving a linear system graphically. So they're going to give you 2 linear equations here. Y equals 4x plus 3, shown here, increasing. And y equals negative x plus 8, shown here, decreasing. And they want to know what is the solution to this system. The solution is any combination of x and y that satisfies both equations. And in a drawing, that would be the point of intersection. So this point here on the x-axis is 1, on the y-axis 7. So the point 1, 7 is the solution to this system. So down here below the graph, you type parentheses 1, 7, and you submit. Again, you're searching for the intersection point. So here is your system of equations. Scroll down the graph, look for that intersection point, and type it appropriately here with a comma in between, and then click Submit. And that concludes homework number 8.